Hey, what's up guys? Scott here back with another video. Today, it's been about 2 weeks, so it's about time to upload one. So, just FYI, I plan on doing a Deadpool and Wolverine review after it's left theaters. That way, kind of the hype and excitement surrounding it has kind of died down. That way I can really dive into the movie. And I like the movie. Just straight out of the gate, I like the movie. Love the movie even. But I will do a full review probably in about a month or so once it's kind of had its run and people kind of have time to really digest it and think about it. So I kind of want to wait and do my review until I've had time to really think about it and if I had any issues with the movie. But I definitely like the movie. But full review is coming probably in about a month or so. So anyway, stick around for that. Today, I wanted to talk about some heroes and villains of the MCU, um, and how I think some of those villains have helped. Some of those villains that those heroes have fought have helped them evolve as characters post Thanos in the MCU. So, um, the three heroes are Thor, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man. Three of my top favorite, excuse me, three of my top favorite MCU heroes of all time that are still currently active. Um, and I'm not including Sam Wilson, who's also one of my favorites because he has not had his movie yet post Endgame or post Thanos. He had a show, but to me, the movies where you get your meaty storytelling, your bulk meaty storytelling. That's the storytelling that matters, and he has not had that yet post Endgame. So I want to wait, talk about him till after he's had his movie fairly soon, and then we can really dive into his arc. But all these characters have had uh, really good arcs across the films, including post Thanos. Let's start out with Spider-Man, Peter Parker. So he's fought Vulture. Then he helped fight. This is timeline order, in universe timeline order. He's fought in his movies. He's fought Vulture. Then he helped fight Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame. Then after Thanos, he fought Mysterio. And then in Spider-Man: No Way Home, he fought Green Goblin and a variety of different villains. Captain Marvel has fought. First, she fought Jan Rog and his Kree group in her first movie. Then she helped fight Thanos in Endgame. She wasn't in Infinity War, but she helped fight Thanos in Endgame. Then after all that, she fought Dar-Benn and another Kree in her group. So the villains in both of her movies have been Kree soldiers or whatever. And then Thor helped fight Loki. Then he helped fight Ultron. Then he fought Hela. Then he helped fight Thanos. And then after that, since I despise Thor: Love and Thunder with almost every fiber of my being, God, that movie has so many problems. I'm just gonna say that after he helped out Thanos, he's just gone around the galaxy helping different planets and people, helping fight just your run of the mill bad guys. Nothing like a Thanos level or Hela or Ultron level. Just you're like marauders and bandits, stuff like that. That's mostly what he's been up to at the beginning and end of Thor: Love and Thunder. Now that parts of the movie I liked. I liked the parts on the movie in Love and Thunder. He was at the beginning with the Guardians, and then at the end with his new adopted daughter. He's helping fight like bandits and marauders, that type of bad guy. But he hasn't had like a major Thanos level threat since Endgame. Um, but anyways, the villains. So that's kind of Thor's arc where he is right now. He helped fight Thanos, and then he's just kind of been going around helping different planets fight just your typical run of the mill bad guys. Um, whereas Captain Marvel and Spider-Man have both gone through major shifts post Endgame. So let's start with Captain Marvel and her villain Dar-Benn. So Dar-Benn. Well, before I get that, let me do one honorable mention. That villain is Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. Having him reprise his role from back in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, bringing him into the MCU to help to interact and fight Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Spider-Man, fantastic. Definitely my favorite out of that group of villains that they brought in. Definitely the most menacing, the most psychotic, the most evil. Just so amazing. But to me, these two villains had a bigger impact than he did. Okay, let's start with Captain Marvel and Darben. So Darben, at the end of the first Captain Marvel movie, Captain Marvel defeats Yon-Rogg and then says she's going to go back to the Kree homeworld of Hala to destroy the Supreme Intelligence. Which she does, and she needed to. Because if she didn't, the Kree were just going to continue running amok and enslaving people. But when she did that, after she just destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, the Kree, instead of coming together, they're to help rebuild their planet. The Kree got into a civil war because everyone wanted to be top dog, right? So this civil war destroyed their atmosphere and their sun and their planet, and their planet's on the verge of extinction. Supposedly, the Marvels take. We see it here in the movie. This movie takes place 30 years after the Civil War. They seem to be doing pretty good after 30 years. But anyway, you have the villain Darben who blames Captain Marvel for the plight of her planet, even though it's not her fault. So she's going around and destroying and taking resources from planets that are dear to Captain Marvel as an act of revenge. And I thought the reason I thought Darben was a good villain is because you have that personal connection between the hero and the villain, and it ties well into the first movie, Captain Marvel movie. You could take Captain Marvel and the Marvels and have a great 2-part story that really resolves a lot, while also still setting up more stuff for the future. But Captain Marvel and the Marvels give Carol this great character arc of she's been kidnapped by the Kree, brainwashed by the Kree, and then she later finds out who she really is and breaks free of their control and helps defeat them and becomes Captain Marvel and then becomes a hero and then does what she does, Where this movie does great of tying back into that first one, and bring it into so this movie set like 3 years after Endgame, tying her story into the modern day, the current day MCU. And she's, this time Carol's still reeling from the fight with Thanos and all this other stuff that she's been up to off screen that we don't see. So it's cool to see them have her origin set way before Thanos and all that, and then have a film dealing with her story post Thanos, where she's still reeling from that fight and everything. So that was great, and Darben really challenges her as a hero, as a threat. And then through fighting and defeating Darben, she really grows as a character. She learns to let go of all that guilt and sadness she felt over what happened to the Kree, because she kind of blamed herself, but it wasn't her fault. And Monica Rambeau and Kamala Khan helped her see that it wasn't her fault. The Kree had to be stopped. And through fighting and defeating Darben, she learns to let go of all that guilt and anxiousness, and she's more at peace with herself. Comes out in the end a more at peace hero, determined to go forward and be better. So that's what I like about that arc. Her arc over the Captain Marvel and the Marvels through Endgame, obviously. But the Marvels really develops her character into a better spot, I think. Now let's take Spider-Man. So the villain I picked for Spider-Man is Mysterio. So Mysterio is technically the final villain of the Infinity Saga because Spider-Man Far From Home is the final film of the Infinity Saga. So whereas the Marvels takes place like 3 years after Endgame in the timeline, this movie takes place like 6 months. 6 to 8 months after Endgame. So the world's still fresh, less than a year, still fresh, recovering from the snap and the second Thanos invading and that battle, losing Iron Man and Black Widow. I mean, the world's just still in recovery from all of that. So we find Peter in a really bad spot where he's still mourning the death and reeling from the death of Tony, Iron Man, and struggling with finding his place as a hero. And then the villain Mysterio has a personal connection with Peter because he has a personal connection with Tony Stark. So there's that. In fact, Mysterio says one of the coldest lines in the entire MCU to Peter in this movie. He says, at one point, he says to Peter, Peter, if you were really good enough, wouldn't Tony still be alive? Or maybe Tony would still be alive, something like that. Man. Ooh, talking about a cold line, man. Mysterio's a very cold, calculating, dangerous villain, with his scientific smarts and the way he builds his drones and illusions, makes a really big threat to Peter and the world. But you know, through through fighting and defeating Mysterio, Peter comes in more into his own as a hero, and I was like, realizes Tony's gone. I need to step up and become this new hero the world's gonna need. And I love the scene in the movie between Happy Hogan and Peter, when Peter's getting ready to go fight Mysterio, and Happy Hogan tells Peter, I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone. Great moment. And that moment really inspires Peter to build his new suit, goes and fights and defeats Mysterio, and then comes out. He's more like, okay, I'm going to step it up. I need to be the hero that Iron Man was. So these villains that Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, Carol and Peter fought really helped progress their characters, which is why I think they're such great villains. Because fighting and defeating them helped really bring the characters forward and the heroes forward in their journey and their arc. And so yeah. Anyway, guys, that's my video, and look out for my Deadpool and Wolverine review soon. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.